Today, we are ranking every Minecraft block. Let's get started. Acacia button. It's about a C tier. It's a mid-tier block. It's not the greatest. I think that's the same with a lot of the Acacia blocks. Same with the door. I'd probably put the door above the button, but not like, it's definitely not B tier. The fence, I mean, it gives you that more rustic farm feel, but I'd put it arguably below the button. I feel like the button has more uses. Same with the gate and the sign. In fact, the sign probably be D tier. It just looks kind of ugly. I don't have a use for it. Acacia leaves, now they are a really nice leaf. I think they're low B tier, but there's no other B tiers for now, so they can be there. Acacia wood as a whole is probably a C tier block. We probably put it above the door if the door will let me, just because no, actually, no. It's ugly. You can't build with it. Planks, on the other hand, I'd put planks at a high C tier. Probably the highest C tier we have so far. I think the pressure plate probably has more use. Once again, not really useful. The sapling, I mean, no one really wants to replant acacia leaves. They don't have a good look to them. Same with majority of the acacia could probably, in fact, the sign can go down in D tier. The slabs, slabs could probably go high C tier, probably not the best. Same with the stairs, they probably go below the slab. The trapdoor is just hideous. It's just, you know, it goes lower than the log. Same with that. That one can go just there with the other log. Minecart trails, that is very, very useful. I'd call that an A tier. It's very useful for a lot of things. If you're ever using redstone on building a farm, majority of the time you're going to be needing rails. Trial chamber, the crate thingy. I'm not a big fan of the trial chambers, I'm not gonna lie. I think they're kind of useless. Probably high C tier. I definitely wouldn't put it B. I wouldn't put it low. In fact, it'd probably be about a mid C tier. A flower. I love all the flowers. It goes B tier. Amethyst. Amethyst has no use but tinted glass, and it's gone. Okay. Here. It has no use but tinted glass, and overall, and building some other random stuff. But it is a pretty block. So I'll put it mid C tier for now, subject to change. Ancient debris. If it was more common, it would make the game unfair, so I think it's a pretty balanced block. But is it worth up here? I think we're going to have netherite lower on the risk, so let's put this maybe high C tier. It's definitely a really good block to need. Andesite. I love the stones. It is andesite. In fact, all of the andesite blocks go in an A tier. I love building with andesite. Same with stone brick. Going with those two as a mix is really nice. Throw on some cobblestone, you have your own tavern. Anvil. That is an S tier item. Having an anvil is a necessity in every Minecraft survival world. Pumpkin stems. Honestly, pumpkins and melons, not really great blocks overall. They're just not the greatest. Same with this one. This is probably, honestly, higher tier than those two, but not the best. I don't really build with it, but at the same time, it's good for people who actually use it. Same with the azalea leaf. Another flower. This one isn't the greatest. I'd probably put it mid C tier-ish, probably above amethyst, maybe above the button and the door. It's not the greatest, but it's also not the worst. Now, I'm going to make this very simple for you guys. Bamboo as a whole, I hate. However, bamboo planks are an A tier material. If you ever need a wood source that is super duper renewable and super duper easy to just get a bulk of, all of the bamboo stuff really good to get. Other than that, it is all D tier for me. I don't like building with bamboo. I think it is ugly. It is a really gross yellow. All of it can go D tier. Every single block. And including the chute. No, the chute could go high D tier. It's definitely not low D tier like the rest of them, but it's up there. And then we'll put the sign and everything else up there as well. Barrels. I love building with barrels. It's probably a mid B tier for me. It's not the greatest, it's not the best, but it's also definitely not the worst. I would still go with a chest over it just because I like chest better. And also the redstone capabilities of a chest are better. Barrier blocks. Honestly, mid B tier again. Really good for servers. It's not available in survival mode though, and you have to cheat to get it in. So overall, I'd put it probably mid B tier, just so that it doesn't, just because you can't get it in survival essentially. Basalt. I hate this block. This block is ugly. I never build with it. Probably be above the acacia signs, but definitely D tier. Beacon. Another S tier block. You need this block to mine out any area late game, especially if it's a big area. I could go on and on and on about the beacon, but I think it speaks for itself. Bedrock. Honestly, low C tier, probably still better than the acacia logs. It's in every world. It's always there no matter what. You can delete it, but it's a pain. Beehives. I would put these definitely at a C. Honey is really good for any redstone because you need honey blocks to counteract the slime blocks. But overall, I would not put it super duper high just because I'm not very big on stuff like flying machines or big redstone contraptions that require it. It's also a pain to farm if you haven't automated it already. Beetroot, lowest of the low. Beetroot is the worst thing I could ever grow and waste my ground on. A bell? That's a high B tier for me. I love the bell. I love trolling people and spamming it. And also Technoblade, make sure you donate. It brings back memories. Love the bell. Solid B tier, maybe even low A tier item. Lily pads. Honestly, I would put these, I want to say low C tier, high D tier. They're really nice for decoration, but if you're trying to boat through a swamp, they get in the way so often, it's so annoying. We'll put them at a low C tier. Birch. Birch goes straight into D tier, along with bamboo. It is ugly, and I hate all of it. Every single piece of birch, including its leaves. Leaves probably go above the rest because it looks better than the rest. And if you disagree with that, I don't know. That's my opinion. Never hurt someone for their opinion. The black banner. I'm a big fan of black blocks in this game. I think they look cool. It could also partially be because I am emo, so it is a very big thing for me. I'd probably put the black banner as a mid C tier, probably below amethyst, but above the trial chamber thingy. Same with the bed, it'd probably be slightly lower just because it's a bit of a pain to get. I don't really use candles. It's really good for edgy builds though, so I'll put it at a low C tier. The carpet, I love the carpet. This is mid B tier for me. I will use the carpet whenever I can. I can't even tell what that block is. I'm going to assume it's black concrete. Once again, black concrete has such a high build use for me, so it'd probably be a high B tier, maybe even low A tier. I don't really use any of these two just because they're a pain to get, especially the terracotta. I struggle to get it, and also the concrete powder doesn't look too great. Shulker boxes, honestly, colored shulker boxes are kind of overrated. I will have like a red one for my redstone and purple for everything else, but I'm also very unorganized. So for me, it's going mid D tier, but I understand that it's probably of more use to other people. Tinted black glass. Now, this one I love, but once again, it is a pain to get because of the amethyst. I'd probably put it below the amethyst in all honesty, but definitely above the acacia in terms of looks. Same with its pain. Its pain would go probably one up just because you get 12 panes per 6 blocks, so it's a lot more handy. Now, Blackstone, I don't really use Blackstone too much. Once again, it's one of those blocks I don't really use. Same with all of its variants. I would probably use maybe the stairs as a roof, so I might put them slightly higher than the rest, definitely above the acacia door and button for the stairs. But the rest of them could definitely go with the glass here. Brown terracotta. It's an ugly, it's gross, it's a high D tier. I don't need to explain it. Black wool. I very, very rarely stumble upon black sheeps, so when I do, I always try to shear them. I don't know why, I think I'm just unlucky. It's probably a high C tier for me. Same with the blast furnace. Honestly, I use the blast furnace every chance I get. High B tier for sure. Amethyst blocks. Now, they look pretty. They don't really have much of a use building-wise for me. I don't really build anything that requires amethyst, nor do I have the urge to build anything with amethyst. Bamboo blocks, they just bottom. It's on the same as the birch sapling for me. I hate it. Coal blocks. Good fuel source, kind of a waste of coal. It'd probably be with these three here, just because it has a use at least compared to everything below it. Diamond blocks. This is just flexing. Don't tell me I just got rid of all of my progress. Okay, cool. Oh, why is it like that? Wait, let me just do that. There we go. Diamond blocks. It's just a flex, in all honesty. Having diamond emerald blocks is not cool. It is just a flex. They're a high D tier block. They don't have a use, but they're really good for flexing. Same with the emeralds. You typically only have the blocks if you're trying to store it, like a lot of it. Gold and iron, good for the beacon. However, once again, it's something you typically only have if you're trying to store it. I'd put these definitely higher than the acacia, all of the acacia, but probably not higher than black wool for me, for these two, just because I don't really see too much use in them. Lapis. It's just something you can get a ton of. Having lapis blocks is a necessity. If you're not storing it this way, you're not storing it right. Probably, honestly, high C tier, maybe even above ancient debris. Netherite, if you have netherite blocks, you're flexing. In fact, it can go mid D tier, below bamboo. Quartz blocks, love building with quartz. It is definitely a high B tier block for me, along with black concrete. It just looks good. I don't know how to explain it. Copper can go with the netherite block. You don't need it. Yes, if you are keeping anything copper on you, get rid of it. It is useless. Same with these. They're good for mining. Solid blocks probably would go with their variants, maybe slightly below, just because they're good for mining, good for inventory space. Redstone blocks. In all honesty, redstone blocks, they're good for redstone. They're good for storing it because you get a lot of redstone while mining. But overall, I probably wouldn't use it as much as I use some of the other things on this list. Maybe above the trial chamber thingy, but below the banner and the amethyst, I think, in terms of use for me. I don't even remember what this block is called. D tier. Another bamboo variant in the B tier, in the D tier. All the blue variants. Ice, high B tier. Ice is a very useful item. I would highly recommend using it if you're ever building any sort of sorter. Blue concrete is probably, once again, probably a high C tier along with its powder. I see more uses for its powder than I do any of the other powders on this list. But overall, it is probably not the thing I'm using the most. The blue bed is just a waste. If you find it in a village, that's fine, but I would not be crafting one of these. Same with the candle. It could probably go with the other candle because it creates a theme, but at the same time, it's not the most appealing. In fact, probably go slightly lower than it. The blue banner, It's good for designs, but I don't really see a use for it. I know I don't really have a many people who have used it, so it'd probably go mid-D tier for me. Same with its carpet. The carpet has more uses than the banner, but is definitely not used as much as the rest. Terracotta, once again, blue terracotta is not something I use a lot of. It is definitely on par with the bamboo variants for me. I don't use it. I don't see a use for it. It's a waste of time. Blue flowers. I love this flower. I can't remember its name, but I love it. It's honestly low A tier for me of usefulness just because I love its design. Shulker boxes, like I said, any colored shulker box, D tier. You just need red for your redstone, purple for everything else. It's the only sorting you need to do. Blue glass is the same. I don't really use it. It'd go definitely above all the bamboo variances and above the melons, but definitely not above anything else on this list, and along with its pain. However, blue terracotta. I love blue terracotta. It's up there with blocks I use a lot, but it's definitely not more used than the black or the white. Blue wool is something you can collect a lot of. Typically, blue dye is very easy to come across, but I don't use it too much compared to the rest. So it's definitely above the acacia everything's, but it's definitely a D tier for me. Bone blocks, a staple for any automated tree farm. If you are ever building a tree farm, I would highly recommend getting a ton of bone blocks. Bookshelves, up there, high A tier. You need them for every enchanting setup. Simple as that. Coral it's definitely a prettier block, but I don't really have too much of a use for it. And same with its fan. Honestly, I would have much less of a use for the fan than almost probably anything on this list, along with this one. Brewing stand. Mid B tier. It's honestly something I don't use too often because I don't go do PvP or anything, but it's a staple for anyone who does, and I understand that. Brick. Ugly. No, it's not as ugly. It's not as ugly as the bamboo. It's probably higher than bamboo, the brick and the slab. The stairs are so gross. They're below bamboo. Look at that. Ugh. Same with the fence. Why build brick fences? Banner, once again, I don't really use banners. I understand the use for them, but it's probably on par with the blue one for me. I don't really use banners too much, but these two specifically I use the least. Same with the bed. Honestly, the bed is probably uglier than whatever this block is. Candle can go with the bed. Same with the carpet. I don't really use them. Brown terracotta, it's ugly. It's gross. It's a very low-tiered block for me. Probably in between the birches. I think I definitely have more use for these than I do that, but I don't have use for these for that. The powder is even grosser. It's uglier. It's below the birch. Same with the terracotta. Terracotta can go down with the blue. Packed mud. Now, I love packed mud, but I also don't use it very often. So in terms of usefulness, it's probably a mid-C. In terms of actually, like, the looks and stuff, I'd probably put it, yeah, actually below the blackstone. Now that I look at them side by side, I definitely like everything above it more than I like these two. But these, it's definitely above all the acacias. Brown mushrooms. The amount of times I've been stuck in a Minecraft world, unable to find mobs, but brown mushrooms have been to my rescue. They gotta be at least a B tier, maybe low B tier block for me. Shulker box colors, once again, it goes with the rest. I understand why people do it. I don't do it myself. Brown glass is gross, but it is definitely more appealing than any of the bamboos and the bricks. So I'm probably put it with the blue, maybe just below the blue. Same with its pane. Terracotta wise, once again, it's a very gross block. I'm just gonna put it there. And same with its wool. Its wool, it's definitely better than the others, but it's not the greatest. Bubble columns. Peak for any type of elevator. You're gonna need them. Another coral variant. I don't really use the corals once again. It's definitely prettier than the bricks though, and probably the brown glass. I think the glass would definitely have more use for it then. And the fans would probably go at the bottom with the others. Another amethyst variant is just going straight at the bottom. I don't use it. Same with both of these flowers. Same with cactus. I don't like cactus. It's so annoying. It's just a mid-tier block. The cake. Cake is a very useful item, but it's also just resource intensive and not worth crafting. It's low C tier, probably above these 5, but definitely not above the rest. Smooth. Is that a coral or is that andesite? Wait, can't even tell. Calcite. Okay, cool. Calcite is definitely a block I use more than the amethyst and the candles, but probably not as much as any of the rest of these. I don't use that. I don't use the skulk sensor catalyst thingies. I don't understand them. Same with the command block. Not my type of thing. Same with the cartography table. I don't see a use for it. And while we're here, let's put the pumpkins there. Let's put carrots there. They're good for golden carrots, but just trade for them. Same with these 2 candles. They're plain, they're boring. Maybe if you're doing like a haunted mansion type thing, but other than that. Campfires, good for decoration, bad for practicality. Definitely above the glasses and all the azalea stuff, but not above the wool. Cauldron, low usage unless you're doing like a lava farm. It's probably a C tier block. And I say that very loosely as I wouldn't have a use for this if I was playing right now. Same with anything hanging and chains. I don't use chains that often. Okay, I really like cherry stuff. I love all the cherry stuff way more than acacia. It's probably definitely not high C tier, but I definitely love it way more than the rest. In fact, I'll probably put the door above the fences. Hanging, I don't use hanging signs very often. It can go below. Love the cherry leaf. It's a B tier item for me. In fact, I have more use for it than actually all of those. It's a low A tier, actually. Cherry logs as a whole don't look too great. I'd probably put it above the acacia logs, but definitely not higher than anything else on that list. The planks, on the other hand, higher than the rest. And the pressure plates, round the same as the button for me. It has a really nice looking sapling to the point where it's probably a B tier for me. Do these actually do anything? Can I condense these down? Nope, okay. I don't really have a use for any of the shelves. I don't use them. The cherry sign looks so cute. I love it so much. Probably less than the door, but not less than the fences. The slab up there with the block, probably higher, in fact. Same with the stair, but lower than the block for that one. And the trap door is also above the regular door for me. And then this log definitely is a high D tier actually, probably above the diamond and emerald blocks, because at least it has a use. Chest. I love chest. Chests are great, amazing, 10 out of 10 item. 100% use all the time. They're a necessity. In fact, they're probably another S tier block. I love the chest. Broken anvil, still an A tier. It's not fully broken yet, but it's still up there. Bookcases, I love the bookcases. I use them probably way more than majority of the blocks here, but definitely lower than these 3 here. Both of the copper bulbs, I see the use for them, but at the same time, I don't have use for them. Top of the D tier for now. Same with any of these random black blocks from the nether. I don't like the nether, so they go D tier, but I also see the use for them in building. What is this? Chiseled quartz. Alright. Chiseled quartz. Honestly, probably around the calcite, it's not useful for me. It seems like just a pain, and in the end, it doesn't look too different from regular quartz, so we're just gonna put it mid C tier, low C tier, and leave it at that. Anything sandstone is gross. I don't like sandstone. And another one of these weird looking blocks, it can go with its brother. Sandstone, high D tier, once again, I see the use, but I don't use it. Now we get to the stone bricks. This is the ugliest of the stone brick. It's ugly. You gotta admit. Wait, is that stone brick? Chiseled stone brick, yeah. Chiseled blocks are just not that appealing. Same with any of these random ones. They're definitely more useful than these, but I don't have a use for them myself. Anything from the end, these two blocks specifically, are just gross. There's no use for them. They give terrible mechanics. They're low D tier for me. I don't see any point in them. Clay to make bricks. Honestly, it's about the same as bricks. There's not really a use for it. If you need it, why? Closed eye blossom is one of those ugly looking blocks I don't really have a use for. It goes at the bottom of D tier. Coal ore, a peak ore, almost the first ore anyone ever mines is coal ore. Is probably a B tier block. I don't use it as much as these. It's definitely up there. Coarse dirt. I love coarse dirt for anything road. I love making roads out of coarse dirt. Mid B tier, easy, above the bookshelf. Anything deep slate, painful to mine, but I really love it as a block and building with it. It definitely is above anything acacia, but below majority of the cherries. Same with the slab, same with the stairs. Honestly, the stairs probably not as high. Now that I think about it, I don't really use the stairs too much. I probably use the door and the trapdoor more than I use the stairs. And then the fence I just never use. Low C tier. Cobblestone, the goat. In fact, the 3 cobblestones, because one of them is infected. Can you guess which one? Leave a comment now. Honestly, cobblestone is cobblestone. It's got to go high C tier. In fact, one of them has to go low B tier, maybe even above these 3 here. I love cobblestone. In fact, the cobblestone variants, the slab, stairs, and wall probably go high C tier. It's definitely not in the same category as the B tier, like the regular block, the stair, and the slab, but it's definitely up there. Cobwebs, bane of my existence, mid B tier. In fact, worse than brick. Hate brick, but you know, cobwebs just gross. Cocoa beans, not it. In fact, it's probably not super duper low because you can still make cookies with them, but it doesn't really have a use. Composter for getting bone meal, honestly, probably a good tier block. In all honesty, pretty high C tier. Is that what I think it is? It's a conduit. Only good for getting an achievement, and it's a pain to get. You have to get so much materials for it. Probably mid D tier, even above the bricks, above the cobweb, but not above the rest of this. All the copper variants, instant D tier. I don't even care where they go in D tier. I hate all the copper variances. They're all ugly. Copper golems, I see the use, but I'm sorry, I hate you. You're such a useless addition. I understand you can sort and stuff, but just make an auto sorter. You don't need to use copper golems. They're so slow. Anything, all the copper variances, bottom, blue flower, love blue. As I said earlier, once again, it goes with the other. Probably below the other, but pretty close. It's pretty close. The deep slate bricks. Love deep slate bricks. Low B tier, probably above the two flowers that are there. And actually, no, I'm going to move the mushroom down now. Same with the barrier block. Barrier block can go at the bottom for now. And actually, coal could probably go below cobblestone. Cobblestone's more useful. What is this? Anything from the nether is just a mid-tier block. It's just probably not D tier, but low C tier. Like low C tier. Another brick. Love the bricks. The bricks are amazing. What is that? Is that crackstone brick? Really good if you're building like a rundown wizard tower or something. Once again, a block I would highly recommend. Auto crafters, a new addition to the game. Honestly, I'm more of a builder than a redstoner. I don't automate my task too much. I typically will just do it by hand. So, but I see the use. So it can go in the B tier for now. For now, it could change. The crafting table, instant S. It is a peak item. You need the crafting table if you're ever going to progress in the game, I guess. You're gonna use a crafting table. Creaking Heart, it's a low tier item. It's probably lower than the golems, but not lower than the rest of the copper. Creeper Head, really good for scaring your friend. Probably a high B tier in all honesty. I really like scaring your friend and like trolling your friend type items. All of the nether items. I'm gonna sum it up for you guys with a finger click right now. Higher than birch, but lower than the rest in reverse order too. As you can see, I'm not a big fan of many of them. They kind of spread out, but they're mostly together because in the end, they all have the rough same place in my heart. I don't like them. Crying Obsidian, useless. 0 out of 10. Would not recommend. Same with any of these stupid copper builds. I hate anything copper. Copper is an ugly block. Same with sandstone. Anything sandstone as well. It just looks gross. In fact, other than the concrete is probably mid C tier. The rest of this better than copper, better than the crimson. The bed is, why would you craft that? Same with the candle. But I understand stuff like the carpet, the banner. You need the powder to get the rest. Higher than the candles. I got it. In fact, the chain can be moved up, actually quite significantly moved up. Probably to, once again, back to that high D tier. Shulker box, dead. Glass, I understand blue glass. Like the cyane type glass looks better than the blue glass. It definitely ranks low C tier. Same with its pane. The pane is low C tier. The cyan terracotta is not cyan, it is grey. And I will not have any other word about it. Low D tier. Wool, you need the wool to make the carpet, so it has to go at least with the carpet. Maybe slightly lower. It's not the greatest. Now, a fully cracked anvil about to break is a D tier experience. You know you have to start getting the iron together to make one. But it's probably not super duper low D tier. I would still rather have an anvil than no anvil. Dandelion is, honestly, it's an OG. I would probably put this in an A tier purely just because it is an OG item. You can't have it without having the rest of the flowers, you know? Is this spruce or dark oak? Dark oak, okay. Dark oak. Button, kind of meh. Door, love the door. Door is high C tier above the rest. Fences, once again, if it's the only wood, but low C tier. Same with the gate. If you have the the fence, you need the gate. The sign is probably a D tier. The leaves are really nice leaves. I really like the leaves. They're up in that B tier for me. Same with the log and same with the plank. They're low B tier, maybe even mid B tier. The sapling, you need the sapling to grow with the wood, so it has to go at least in C tier, but probably below the rest. It's not the most appealing thing.